Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we'll be talking about the headset communication that was approved by the NCAA to be implemented this fall in 2024. What's it going to mean for our team? And also, there's a 2-minute warning. This is something that was brought to the channel by a friend of the channel and Papa T. He's been a member pretty much since we opened up memberships. And we're going to have something moving forward where we can kind of open it up to maybe, everyone that is a part of this channel, not just the members, where, we can kind of have some topics and maybe we'll just let the members vote on it. Not quite sure how we'll be doing that, but it's something that we've done before in the past. Just in, if you have an idea for a video and you comment that on one of our previous videos, then we're usually happy to do a video on that topic. I think that it's fun for everybody and, it just gives us some extra content as well. So look out for that, but please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you have not already, let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right, so let's talk about the rules for the headset communication. It's going to be one player on offense, usually the quarterback, one player on defense, usually going to be the Mike linebacker, and they can get communication from the sideline or, from a coach on their staff as soon as the play clock starts, and then once there's 15 seconds left on that play clock, the microphones are going to be shut off, okay? So there will be no more communication after that point, and I think that that's going to be very beneficial for us because we operate at a very high tempo, and we'll talk about those numbers here in just a minute. But this whole thing came up because of Connor Stallions and Michigan stealing signs. We know that they were stealing ours. Sounds like they gave our signs to South Carolina back in 2022. That could be a big part of the reason that they beat us. And we were on Sports Talk Jay's channel. Around that time, he was asking P and I, did we think that it was a big deal the way that Michigan was stealing signs? We said that we didn't really think that it was. It's very prevalent in college football and really on all levels of football. I mean, there's always going to be some form of cheating pretty much from every single team. That's just the way that it goes. And if you don't want to call it cheating, you can kind of call it bending the rules for our volunteers. But I do think that we've been more of the, on the cleaner side of that, just in all honesty. And most college coaches, whenever they had the opportunity to vote on having the headsets, voted no, because I think that they wanted to keep on stealing those signs. And I think that that's very telling. But Coach Heupel has been rumored also to not love the headsets. Now, is it because he likes to steal signs, or is it because of the way that our offense operates where, again, it's tempo. We go no huddle, and we're going to be signaling in those calls from the sideline. We see those three coaches with different color shirts on. How that works, I'm not 100% sure. It could be a variation of, a million different things. It could be one coach that is live for the entire team. It could be a coach for the offensive line. It could be a coach for the skill guys. It could be an individual coach for the quarterbacks. It could be that, hey, one of the coaches are going to be live based off of the color of their shirt and the down, the distance, the quarter, things like that. There's a whole lot that could go into it, but, as much as I know about this stuff is that it's a lot more simplistic than what we try to make it out to be. It's usually pretty easy to pick up, and that's why the signs can be stolen from other teams. But I will also say this. If you're on defense and if you're trying to steal Tennessee signs, what you have to do, or, what you would probably want to do is figure out, okay, is this going to be a run? Is it an inside run or is it an outside run? Or is this a pass? Is it a deep pass? Is it a short pass? Is it outside the numbers or is it inside the numbers? All those things. And once you can kind of get that figured out, then it may be a little bit easier to get the message into your team, get lined up, get set, and maybe be able to execute it. But I just think that it takes so much time to get good at doing that, especially versus a team like Tennessee, because we're going at tempo. So by the time that our signs are coming in and, you're just trying to figure out what they are, we're already lined up and we're going to be running that play. So I don't really think that us having the headsets necessarily is going to be a huge deal with people not stealing our signs and signals, because we'll still be signaling in some, because since we go no huddle, the only player that really is going to get the benefit of this is going to be the quarterback. And we'll still have to kind of get the signal into the rest of the team. So I'm going to go a little bit more in depth with how I do think that it's going to be beneficial for us. But first, I want to take a look at our seconds per play dating back to 2021, where we had 19.2 seconds per play, which was number one in the entire country. And in 2022, we were at 20.2 seconds per play, which was number two in the country behind Oklahoma. And finally, in 2023, we were at 21.2 seconds per play, which was fourth in the nation. All right, so we can see a trend that since 2021, the offense has slowed down about a second per year. Is that going to happen again this season with the headsets? That's going to be the biggest question, especially with Nico, where we thought even before the headsets that he was going to be a guy that could operate it at least at Hendon Hooker's level in 2022 at about 20.2 seconds per play. I think that we can get back to maybe even 2021 And the reason that I'm saying that is because everything still goes through the quarterback, even though, the skill guys and offensive line, they still have to get their calls, but it is going to go at the speed of the quarterback at his pace. So, we've got Coach Halsley or Coach Heupel talking to Nico as soon as that play clock starts. He's got the play, so he already has that part down pat. And as he's waiting on his teammates to get the play and to get lined up, he's now reading the defense and he's listening to Coach Halsley or to Coach Heupel. And they're saying, hey, look, this is what we're seeing, right? If we get this look, then we're going to kind of switch and go here, et cetera, et cetera. But we should be able to get into a perfect situation just because we operate at such a high tempo. Now, there is also a chance that maybe we kind of slow it down some, especially on third downs, which we've done since Coach Heupel has been up in Knoxville. And I think that makes the most sense, especially if it's a critical third down. There's no need to go too fast. Let's get into the right play and make sure that, we are going to be able to execute at the highest level possible. That's when I see us, maybe using up that extra time. We kind of talked about, hey, we are operating at, snapping the football with 30 or more seconds left on that play clock. So now you've got, anywhere between, 15 to 20 something seconds where you can really get things figured out with your coach and get into a perfect place. So maybe we'll kind of eat up some more clock that way or in those situations. Also, with the 2-minute warning, it does, that's an extra timeout for everybody. So I think that would be another time that maybe we can kind of slow down in some spurts, knowing that we've got that extra timeout with the 2-minute warning. So those are my thoughts with that. I think that we're going to be just fine. I do think that the offense should take a big step forward because, again, we've got Nico. This is his first time being a true starter throughout an entire season in college, and he is going to probably make some kind of like freshman mistakes and things, but that's going to be minimized a lot with the headsets now. And I think that everyone should be very, very afraid of what this offense can do with a guy like Nico that is generational type of a talent who has the arm strength, who can run in an offense with a whole bunch of playmakers on the outside with a great offensive line. I think that we're going to be extremely efficient. I think that we're going to put up big points. And I think that this is going to help Nico win the Heisman. Now, looking at what the defense is going to try to do to Tennessee with these headsets, does it help them to have the headsets? Well, of course it does. I think that it helps them out tremendously, but it's still kind of the same deal where, hey, the signals and, all that, like you have to wait for the signals to kind of come in. They still have to wait for us to get lined up before they can kind of dictate what they want to do. Or maybe they'll try to say, hey, we're going to line up this way first, and we're going to try to dictate to you what, y'all are going to be able to do. But at that point, that's when the chess match is in play. And I like Coach Heupel in the chess match versus anybody with some real pieces. That's been the difference the past couple of seasons. We just have not had those pieces. So saying all that to say that it doesn't matter, right? Like they can know what we're in. They can know what we're doing. They can have their coach give them all the, tips and tricks and all that stuff, I guess, before we snap the football, because it's going to be way before that 15 seconds, right? I mean, most of the time, they're not going to have a whole lot of time to hear from their coaches anyway, but it doesn't matter because now we can execute. We've got the players to get it all done, to get it executed. So I think that, yes, at the end of the day, it really helps us out tremendously on offense. And, season kind of wears on. I think the Coach Heupel he may not come out and say this publicly, but I think that he's going to love those headsets because it's just going to benefit us so much on offense. Now, talking about us on defense, I think that we'll probably have Keenan Pili with the headsets. That would make the most sense because he is going to be our mic. But at the same time, with him knowing so much about football, okay, with him being an older guy, seeing so much football, maybe he doesn't even need it, right? I mean, we do have to get our guys lined up, but maybe we can give it to one of the younger players on the team playing next to him, and like an Arion Carter, to help him get up to speed, to help him kind of see more of what Keenan Pili is naturally seeing without the coaches having to tell him that. I think that could be extremely beneficial. There's also teams like Oklahoma that like to run at that tempo just like we do, where I would recommend for us to give the headsets to the safeties. And I would probably think that, teams that are playing up against our offenses will probably have the safeties with the headsets because it's more about us stretching you out vertically. It's more about, that back end being on the same page. It's where we see so many big plays from our offense. And we see the same thing with Oklahoma's offense to some degree, to some extent. I think that our offense is a little bit different than ours is, just with the way that they operate it. So, I would say maybe a cornerback could even have it, versus their offensive scheme. But they do a good job as well of going vertical. So that's just kind of my thoughts, is that on defense, you have more leeway to give the headsets to some other players, just because if you've got a guy, like, let's just say, knock on wood, if someone does go down, that's more of a veteran, and the best athlete that you have is a true freshman or just a younger player, period, you would feel more comfortable putting them out there with those headsets, knowing, hey, I can kind of walk them through this like we are in practice, even though it's a live game situation. I think that that's extremely beneficial, and we should be able to see more players across the country that are younger and probably better athletes get out there in different situations, especially if the rest of your team is pretty much already veteran led, which ours is. So that'll be beneficial. Something else is that we're gonna have plenty of time to get into the right plays, to understand exactly what the coaches are seeing, probably all the way down to that 15-second mark, because the only teams in the SEC that run at tempo for the most part is going to be Oklahoma, like we just talked about. Ole Miss, we'll probably see a little bit of that out of Washington. They're not at a breakneck pace, though. You know what I'm saying? Like they kind of are willing to slow it down a lot more than us or Oklahoma would in that air raid system. And I mean, that's pretty much it. We might see a little bit of that from Arkansas. It's not going to be a whole lot of that. They'll probably do it in spurts. Everyone might kind of do it in some spurts, but for the most part, we will be able to take full advantage of the entire play clock with our defense and just hearing from the coaches. So I think that it's going to put us in a great position on offense, okay, obviously, but definitely on defense as well. It makes so much sense. And also our coaches are really good at identifying, little ways to just get better at certain things or to be better at certain things than other teams are. I think that we get the most out of every single aspect of the game. And I, feel like that's why Tennessee is one of the best coach teams. I feel like we have the best coaching staff. But I mean, you're seeing it now, just, a little bit off topic, but with the way that we've gone out and identified talent early on in the process, at the high school level is incredible, right? Like, not everyone is able to do that. And we're starting to see that teams like Georgia are offering teams after we do it. But we're just very innovative as a school, as a program in general. So I know that we'll make the most out of this, and I expect for it to be extremely beneficial to our team. Expect for our numbers to look a lot better, not just because we have better players, but also because we will find a way to use these headsets in a very, efficient way. And it may not be exactly the way that I'm planning out, but the coaching staff knows what will work best for this team. That's going to be it for this video, though, and I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Please make sure, as always, to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. And we'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.